Welcome back to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain a comedy, drama, mystery film from 2020, titled The Kid Detective. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. The scene starts with a car following Gracie, a young blonde girl, along the street. She is overtaken by the car, and she gives it many signs before approaching it. A young guy named Abe Applebaum then appears as he awakens to the sound of his phone ringing. Later, his parents come to see him. His money and the state of his employment are discussed while they are sitting together. Abe stops into a pub that evening and strikes up a little discussion with the bartender. A guy and his friends attack him as he exits the pub because they are angry with Abe for solving the case of a stolen fundraising cash box years earlier and accuse him of being the culprit. When Abe was 13, he recalls acting as a kid detective and cracking the case of a stolen fundraiser. To contact with customers whose cases he helped resolve, he had a tree home that he used as an office. When he was 12 years old, someone destroyed his tree home, but the municipality donated money and built him a real office. Gracie, the mayor's daughter, was his secretary. He offered her Pepsi to make up for it. He remembers times when he was searching a home for evidence when the owner came home. He hid in the owner's closet until the owner sneezed and revealed himself. Abe was horrified when he discovered that Gracie had been abducted while he was still a youngster, as seen in the opening scene. Rewinding to the present, he wakes up, makes his way to the office, and stops to speak with his secretary about the facial bruises from the previous night's thrashing. After meeting with some customers, he stops for ice cream on the way home and notices a police officer looking for what could be a river. The next day, Abe finds Caroline waiting for him when he gets to work. He needs to solve a case for her. Her lover Patrick was fatally stabbed 17 times. After finishing his shift, Abe heads home for supper with his family, friends, and their 2 kids. They discuss his employment and inquire about the facial wounds. Abe shares with them the details of Caroline's murder, his most recent case and debut. He quickly steps in to convince everyone at the dinner table of his past successes and potential to solve the case even if his father is opposed to his looking into a murder case. The next day, he is at his office questioning Caroline in an effort to learn more about Patrick's passing. Together, they set out to see some of Patrick's pals. They go to Kelvin's residence, a buddy of Patrick's. The 3 gather in his living room as Kelvin shares with them what he knows about some of Patrick's illicit relationships and business transactions. He mentions Patrick's concubine, a woman wearing a tiger mask, and other evil deeds the 2 of them committed. He also makes reference to Patrick having a photo of the girl in the tiger mask. Later that evening, Caroline and Abe have dinner together to continue talking about Patrick. She remembers sharing private moments with Patrick and how occasionally she found a paper flower in her locker. She breaks down in tears, and Abe asks whether she wants to continue the case. She answers yes. In order to find the pictures of the masked tiger girl, they decide to break into the school and examine Patrick's locker. They attempt to enter the building from the roof after arriving at the school late at night, but they find that the ceiling air vent has been changed with a smaller one. Then Caroline finds an open window, which provides a second entrance into the building. After entering, they locate the locker, only to discover that the cops had already emptied it. She remembered having a jacket from Patrick in her locker. When they locate the jacket, one of the pockets has a bottle of pills. Abe then considers the purpose of the tablets and the identity of the supplier. He calls his secretary, who suggests he approach some of the children who are hanging around on the porch. Before taking Caroline with him to the site of the stoop youngsters, Abe pauses for a little period of time. He shows the children the pill bottle and asks who made it and where it came from. He is told by the youngsters' leader that the drugs are ego boosters and that he may buy them at the candy shop. Abe spots an old poster hanging on the wall picturing the missing Gracie, his secretary, who was kidnapped when he was a young investigator, while Caroline enters the candy shop to get the medications. Instead of the medicines, Caroline exits the room with ice cream. He realizes right away that the youngsters made up the story about receiving the pills from the candy store. After that, a furious Abe charges the children. He raises his arms in the air and gives the kids' leader a scorching, brilliant smack on the face. He lightly beats the youngster and coerces him into providing him with details about the suppliers. The child gives him the name and address of the people who sell the pills. They work at the boat and go by the name of the Red Shoe Gang. Still furious, Abe drives down beside Caroline to the ship. He comes upon a guard among others, and when the guard searches him, he is let inside. He enters, sees 3 men who appear threatening, and immediately asks to meet with Patrick. After a brief pause, one of the males responds, "No." Angry, Abe turns away. They proceed to Patrick's house, where Abe has a conversation with Patrick's parents. He sends the family his sympathies. Then Abe asserts that Patrick could have been suffering from depression before to his passing, and he exhibits the pills as evidence. Abe and Patrick's mother are left in the sitting room after Patrick's father storms out of the room in a rage and refuses to accept his son's sadness. Patrick's mother presents Abe a picture of her son as they have a brief conversation before Abe vows to keep working on the case until it is solved and comforts the family. Next, as Abe and Caroline are on the road, Abe's secretary phones to inform them that she has identified the mask-wearing Tiger Girl as Amelia Miller through social media. After introducing himself as Amelia's mother's investigator, Abe visits her home, and she extends an invitation. Abe now gets Amelia talking about what she knows about Patrick in her room, and after a brief exchange, he leaves to meet Caroline in the car. She alerts him about a strange vehicle following them since they left Patrick's house as soon as he gets in the car. When Abe realizes that his parents are in the car behind them, he feels embarrassed. He makes up to Caroline that their following were reporters searching for information to help solve the current incident as he gets back to Caroline's automobile. They keep moving forward till they stop. She tells him that her parents passed away while skiing as their conversation between them continues in the car. She resided with her grandparents and claimed that she sometimes feels like someone is watching her. The next day, Abe pays a visit to Patrick's school's principal. When he brings up Patrick with the principal, the latter brings up Patrick's buddy Kelvin in the discussion. Abe then goes into Kelvin's house in search of any relevant information about the murder. He tries to access Kelvin's computer, but it is password protected. In an effort to figure out the password, he looks through the drawer for suggestions. Finally, he comes upon a written message, which he reads to get the password and unlock the computer. He quickly hurries inside the closet to continue his investigation as he hears approaching footsteps. Kelvin enters the space and sits down in front of his computer for hours. As night falls, Kelvin's mother calls him to the table for supper. Relieved, Abe emerges from concealment as he hears footsteps approaching the door of the exit. It's Kelvin's younger sister this time. Abe quickly returns upstairs and hides in her wardrobe. After Kelvin complained about hearing something in her closet, Kelvin's mother eventually arrived to put her to bed. Her mother sends her out and gives her a good-night kiss. But then he sneezes. The head of police is then seen interrogating Abe. The police chief finally consents to convince Kelvin's parents to drop their criminal complaint. When Abe's phone calls after arriving home, he is playing a video game. When his secretary phones him, she lets him know that his name is in the paper under the title, "Caught in a 9-Year-Old Girl's Room." Caroline tells Abe later that she found another paper flower in her locker. Abe thinks the roses came from Kelvin since Patrick was running late. The roommate of Abe invites his buddies to a party. Abe sniffs some items while contemplating Gracie in a foul temper. The situation gets more dramatic when he sniffs some more and passes out under the loud music. He finds himself awake in a trash, nude, and decides to clean up at Caroline's place. They discuss for some time how he used to be far ahead in the game before suddenly finding himself far behind. Later, when he goes back to his office, He finds a paper flower that Caroline had left there the day before. He unfolds the paper flower before rushing to his garage and looking through the old bins where he had stored old documents. When he arrives at Gracie's home in a hurry, her mother lets him look around her room and finds another paper flower there. Later, when he visits the pub, the bartender informs him that the suspect in the case he solved when he was 13 and believed had stolen the charity cash box was really not guilty. He stops to think before going to the principal's residence and breaking in. At the residence, he finds the photo of the woman wearing a tiger mask. Instead of hiding in the closet as he usually does when someone approaches with footsteps, he runs under the bed. The principal detects Abe's presence when he enters the room. Next, we observe Abe and the principal seated side by side with a table separating them. Abe learns the fundraising cash box was stolen by the principal, who attempted to hide by blaming the incorrect person in the process. The principal was infatuated with Gracie and this encounter gave him the courage to carry out his plan to kidnap her. Additionally, Abe charges the principal with killing Caroline's lover Patrick. The school's principal admits to the atrocities, as well as to having physically abused Gracie and given birth to Caroline, who turns out to be that kid. He gives Abe his congratulations on cracking his first murder case before getting a pocket knife, stabbing himself twice in the chest, and dying. Abe grabs a beverage from the refrigerator while feeling dazzled. He looks out the window and spots a little structure in the neighboring woods. He gently opens the door as he approaches the building. A familiar-looking woman is seated on the ground. Yes, that is Gracie. He lets Gracie's mother know where she is by getting in touch with her. She finds it hard to believe. National publications have covered Gracie's tale for weeks. Abe receives a medal from the state governor. The 10-year-old investigator who never gave up is him. His reputation in the community is restored when Gracie's mother praises him, which dramatically increases business for his agency. The next day, Abe goes to work to see Caroline, who is already there. Abe's parents pay him a visit, and congratulate him on solving the case, and suggest he join them for dinner. Abe becomes quiet and emotional all of a sudden, haunted by the recent events, and starts crying. His perplexed parents inquire as to what is wrong, but he responds with more sobs. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.